My 2 cents, motherfucker. What up, y'all? DCFAYGOGUY. So in my last video, I had mentioned that I hadn't dropped my 2 cents on the whole Gorilla Voltage situation, and I wasn't sure if I was. A few people commented basically wanting to know what I thought about it. So we're going to go ahead and do this video anyway. I'm not going to really talk about what happened. It's kind of old news at this point. Late to the party, but I'm just going to go through and just kind of talk about what I think it means and talk a little bit about my initial reaction. So my initial reaction when I had read the post that was posted about Gorilla Voltage being no more, haven't been for a while and never will be, it was a little bit of shock and a little bit of not surprised, if that makes sense. And the reason I say I wasn't surprised, I've heard the whispers that M&E was going to start losing some artists. Of course, there's a lot of people that are speculating that that's all that post meant was that they have left M&E. So everything I hear whisper-wise like that, I take with a grain of salt. The person who had told me this, I trust, I believe, but you just never know. I don't know if his source was wrong. So I kind of take everything with a grain of salt, even something that I was told by Kung Fu Vampire. So flat out, the part that did surprise me with this post is it was almost displayed like Clockwork and Mr. Gray had a falling out and they are no longer going to work together as a group. So I asked Kung Fu Vampire straight up at the Come Down tour, I said, did they have a falling out? And to that he replied, no. So what do I think it means? I honestly, part of me wants to believe it just means they've fulfilled their contract with M&E and they are leaving the label. Does this mean they are going back to Damn Dirty Apes? I don't know. To me, it means they fulfilled that contract, and I don't know what that contract would look like. I know they've technically released 3 albums, for sure 2 of them. I don't know if you want to count the lost tapes of the Apex. I think it was called just the Lost Tapes, but I call it Apex, the Lost Tapes. That technically could be a 3rd album, so maybe they only had a 3-album contract. Again, I don't know. At this point with that, I am speculating. But to me, that's kind of what I think happened. Just going purely by what Kung Fu Vampire says, that they didn't have a falling out. And really, the hints are kind of there. Both when Mr. Gray posted the news and also Kung Fu Vampire did on an Instagram post about the song The King off of his Come Down album featuring Gorilla Voltage. The way it was carefully worded, to me, that almost just says they're no longer going by the name of Gorilla Voltage. Whether that means they're coming up with something else or if they're going back to Damn Dirty Apes. I know a lot of people just didn't care for that name. It was kind of a scratcher for me, knowing what they used to go by before. I feel like Damn Dirty Apes was a doper name than Gorilla Voltage. But I also know there are I think there's 1, maybe 2 other bands that exist out there that go by the same name. I initially thought that was the reason they had changed their name. I believe that still is the case. But Gorilla Voltage was just a weird name. It didn't quite make sense to me, other than the fact that they kept the ape part, made it gorilla. Because, I mean, Clockwork and Mr. Gray, there's some gorilla-looking motherfuckers. So, that's just pretty much what I think it means. I think it means that they fulfilled their contract, and I don't know. That's purely speculation. I don't think they were booted from the label. I don't think they were leaving the label. I think they just purely fulfilled that contract. It isn't getting renewed because they are being slept on. There's a lot of juggalos that are boycotting them because they are M&E artists, and there are a lot of M&E fans that don't seem to like them as well. So, unfortunately, that seems to be their fate. I had a feeling when the time came they weren't going to get renewed just because they weren't taken off, I think, like expected. So it is what it is. It's a fate that a lot of artists suffer, Kung Fu Vampire being one of them. Not a lot of people are behind him. He's very underrated. So it is what it is. But flat out, that's what I think this means. I don't think it means they're no longer doing music together, just because I straight up asked Kung Fu Vampire, did they have a falling out? And the hints are just kind of there in both of those posts. Gorilla Voltage is no more, is kind of the way it's being put out there. Like, maybe they're trying to surprise us by a return of Damn Dirty Apes or a new group. So that's what I think. That's my 2 cents on that whole situation. That's exactly what I think is the situation here. So leave your thoughts down below. Tell me if you think I'm completely out of my mind. There's no fucking way that that's what's going on. Just leave your input. Tell me what you think, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.